Hi, welcome to my video on find the equation of a sinusoidal function, part 2. So to find the equation from A, notice we have a graph, so we're working from the graph and find the equation. So what I do first is that I find the sinusoidal axis, and in the middle, looks like the middle is the sinusoidal axis is right here, and that's sinusoidal axis is y equals -1, which means that this k is the -1. Amplitude is the height from a -1 up, 1, 2, 3 is 3 up, and from a -1 down, 1, 2, 3. So the amplitude is 3. And the period is from, you go on the sinusoidal axis, the period is from 30 to 390. So you take 390 and subtract 30. So the period becomes 360 degrees. So if the period is 360, so P equals 360 divided by B. So the period is 360. 360 divided by B, and that means that B must be 1. And the phase shift, we're going from A, the phase shift is 30 degrees, so that means that the H is equal to 30 because it's 30 to the right. Now, going up from A is on the sinusoidal axis, so that means we have a sine graph. And notice we're going up, so that means that because we're going up, it's going to be a positive. Okay, positive. I put the positive here or tick that. So that means that the amplitude, that means that A is a positive. I was going to put plus minus then. A is a positive 3 because the sine graph is going up. So the equation y equals A sine B theta minus H plus K. So it's a sine graph. So A is 3 sine, B is 1, and H is 30, so it's the opposite of a minus 30 degrees, and the K is -1. So the equation is 3 sine theta minus 30 minus 1. That's the equation that represents this graph. Now there are many more sine or cos equations, but we're only working on from A, the phase shift. And find the equation again from A. We have a graph, and as before, we'll pick up the sinusoidal axis. So in the middle, I draw it through here. So the sinusoidal axis is 2. So y equals 2. So that means k is 2 in my equation. And the amplitude is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the amplitude is 4. The period goes from pi over 2 down to, so if we do a subtraction, we get pi over 2 plus pi over 2, which is 2 pi over 2. The period is pi. So if the period is pi, period is, because its radians is 2 pi over b, so the period is pi, 2 pi over b, cross multiply, we get pi b equals 2 pi. The pi's cancel, so b is 2. And we're going from A, again we're on the sinusoidal axis, so it's the phase shift is a negative pi over 2. So H is negative pi over 2. And we're going from A, we're going the sinusoidal axis, so we got a sine graph. And we're going down. And down for sine is a negative. So that means that A is going to be negative 4. Again, we got a sine graph, so y equals a sine b theta minus h plus k. So a is negative 4 sine, b is 2 theta, and the shift is a minus pi over 2, so it's the opposite of positive pi over 2, and k is 2. K is the sinusoidal axis. Okay, we got two sine graphs done, equation. Now let's work on the cos. Find the equation from A. A is right here. And again, we pick up the sinusoidal axis, which is here. Sinusoidal axis is at 0, so y equals 0, so k is 0. And the amplitude from the sinusoidal axis down is only a half. From the sinusoidal axis up is a half, so the amplitude is 1/2. And the period from here to here is 1440 minus 0. So the period is 1440 degrees, and the period is 360 divided by b. So the 1440 degrees is 360 divided by b. So 1440 b is equal to 360. So that means b is equal to 360 degrees divided by 1400 degrees. Oh, that's degrees, but degree there and degree there. So b comes out to be 1/4. And the phase shift starts at A, so the phase shift is 0, because it's not left or right, so the phase shift is 0. 0 degrees, which is 0. And notice this is starting not on the sinusoidal, so this is a cos graph because it's starting on the max. Cos going down, it's going down when you go to the right. And cos going down is positive. Sine going up is positive. Cos is opposite. Going down is positive. So the equation, the amplitude is going down, so it's positive. So it's a positive 1/2. So y equals a cos b theta minus h plus k. So a is 1/2. We have a cos, and b is 1/4. Theta minus 0, and k is 0. So we have a 1/2 cos. Theta minus 0 is theta, so we get 1/4 theta plus 0. So there's the equation that represents this graph. And we have 505 is, mislaid over on the side. Sorry for that. Let's straighten this out, making sure everything is okay. Here we go. Find the equation from A right here. Again, we have a graph. So again, I pick up my sinusoidal. So right in the middle looks like right in the middle is right here. So the sinusoidal axis passes through -3. So y equals -3. So that means k is -3, because k is on the end of the equation, which is the sinusoidal. The amplitude is 1, 2. Or we go here, it's 1, 2. So the amplitude is 2. And the period goes from minimum to minimum. So it's 3 pi over 2, subtract pi. 3 pi over 2 subtract pi, and that's 3 pi over 2. Common denominator is 2, so we get 2 pi over 2, same as pi. And that subtract gives me pi over 2 is the period. And the period is equal to, again we got radians, so it's 2 pi divided by b. So period is pi over 2 equals 2 pi over b. And we get pi b equals 4 pi. And we divide each side by pi. So b becomes 4. And the phase shift is right here, pi. The phase shift is pi, positive. And we're starting here. We're not on the sinusoidal, so this is a cos graph. If we're on the sinusoidal here, it would be a sine graph. So this is the minimum, and this is going up. And a cos graph going up is negative. So that means A is going to be -2 in the equation. So y equals A, and it's a cos graph, B, theta minus h plus k. Y equals, so A is -2 cos, B is 4 theta, and the phase shift is positive pi, so that makes that an opposite, which is -pi, and k is -3. So that's the equation that represents this graph. So I just decided to do more. The previous video had all the equations based on just the one graph, but I just wanted to do different graphs to show you about the periods and the phase shift, etc., etc., etc. So that brings us to the end of the video. If you like my video, click on the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, click on the subscribe button. And don't forget to visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, and there you'll find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that I have on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video was of some help to you. Bye-bye.